I'm very happy to be talking with Natasha Walstra today. She is the, shall I say, the queen of LinkedIn? Is that a thing I can call you?
Ooh, I like
I know
that.
you do lots of other things too, but
Let's go with that.
let's go with that. And so I'm super excited to talk with you because I know that I've been hearing that LinkedIn can be a really powerful resource for authors to be putting out their information, their to connect with readers in a very professional platform. And I think it's very underutilized. I know I've had one author that once they finally broke through and like felt comfortable sharing on LinkedIn, was able to reach a lot of people. So that was really cool to see. So can you share a little bit about the work that you do
Yeah,
with people, please?
yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. And actually, speaking of that LinkedIn being underutilized, I always love sharing this stat because I feel like it's super motivating. But there's 1.2 billion people on LinkedIn right now, and only around 1% of people are posting any original content. Which is like
Whoa.
so mind-blowing to think about how few people are actually creating real content on there. So yeah, it's super underutilized. And so even though you may go on there and feel like there's a lot of noise, which there is, there's more than there was, it's still a huge opportunity. So I get super excited about it. That's why I had to share that.
That's so fascinating because especially, I mean, when once you've written a book, that's what you got is original content. You
Like,
have, so
seriously,
much so
right?
easy that you could repurpose and use in a different pathway. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's why I love working with authors so much because there's like no lack of content for them. Like you have a book literally full of stories. Now it's about sharing it in bite-sized chunks out to the world,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so what do I do? I actually, if you don't mind, maybe I can tell you how I got into this a little bit because it was actually my stint in book publishing that really inspired the program that I have today. So I've been using LinkedIn for almost a decade now. I've been on LinkedIn for longer, but I started using it when I was a sales professional as an SDR, where I had to cold call, smile and dial 100 dials a
Woo,
day. Yeah,
God
it was
bless you.
brutal. Yeah. Trust me, it was bad. There was literally a mirror on my desk that I had to smile as I called people, and it just like totally
Ooh,
broke me. But being really competitive and wanting to find a way to hit my numbers but not cry every day, I discovered using LinkedIn as a way to connect, network, and then warm call. And so
mm,
that was kind of my first entry point. My next position, I started creating content and like showing what our company was up to, which really helped with driving credibility. And we were working on a really cool 3D printing company. And so there's a lot of things, and I learned
mm.
so much there. But it was next that I joined Forbes Books as VP and Director of Sales there and totally drank the Kool-Aid. This is my first time in the world of book publishing, and I knew nothing about this, especially it being a hybrid. Like I didn't know
Mhm.
any of the differences of self-publishing, hybrid, traditional, etc. But I was like, this is amazing. What better way to increase thought leadership than by becoming a published author, right? And so I actually moved across country from California to South Carolina, which is where I am now, and really took that on and was so excited about it. But I realized pretty quickly it doesn't matter how great your book is if you don't have a community or audience you're engaging with, no one will know about it, right? Like it's not like
Mhm.
if you build it, they will come, even though everyone thinks that their book's going to be the next bestseller, which
Yes.
maybe it will be, but even still,
Mhm.
you need to have that audience. And I really just started to feel uncomfortable with what I was selling there. It's a hybrid. There's a high cost with it as well. And so I left and I wanted to find a way to better serve the authors I'd signed because most
Mm,
of them had spent their careers building their businesses and they had very little digital footprint. So they launched
mm.
their book and it was absolute crickets. I was like, but we
Oh,
have this, I had this like unique knowledge around LinkedIn. And I'm like, God, there's like, it is underutilized. There's so much opportunity here. Let me show you the ways. And so basically, that's kind of what brings me to today is I work with authors, leaders, sales professionals to help with their LinkedIn strategy through personal branding, content, and social selling. And it's just
oh,
been amazing. Yeah.
that's so awesome. I love hearing your pathway to this. It's so incredible. And I know when I met you, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to do things with you. And you need to come talk to my people because I think it can be so helpful. What type of content are you seeing is the most impactful on LinkedIn these days?
Real lived experience, right? Because it's not something AI can come up with,
Mm,
which means your competitor couldn't come up with it, and neither could your 7-year-old nephew, right?
mm,
So,
mhm.
so looking like I always tell my clients, look at your calendar from yesterday, last week, last month, 10 years ago. What have you
Mm,
done, right? What has been your life? Who have you been talking to? What problems have you been solving? What questions have been being asked, right? All of those little pieces, that nuggets, that's what's gold because people are craving real because there's so much AI slop right now, right? Like there's just so much of the same stuff. Like the value, quote unquote, post has
mm,
died. Like the how-to post
mm,
doesn't even mean anything anymore because anybody can do that. It's your experience that differentiates you and stands out and does really well.
mm. That's awesome. And do you see, any kind of tidbits of information as far as like how often people should be posting and things like that? Like, does that sort of thing matter?
You know, the let's say the in an ideal world, you're posting maybe 4 to 5 times a week,
Hmm.
but we don't live in an ideal world, I think. Most of us, life keeps
Oh
lifing.
man.
I know.
What
Well, I
the
shouldn't say
heck?
that in a negative way. I mean, life just happens. And like, for
Right,
example, last week I only posted 3 times. Oh no.
right.
What's great though is that unlike Meta, where posts die in 24 hours, so you post something and then it's in the feed and then it's gone, on LinkedIn, posts live for like 2, 3, 4 weeks, even, especially if it's
Mm,
good content. And so,
mm,
even if you're only posting 2 to 3 times a week, you have to imagine that most people in your network aren't posting. They're the 99% who are just lurking, right?
mm,
And so, you're still going to show up in their feed more often than not, right? Even if you just posted 2 to 3 times a week. So the answer I always give is whatever you can do consistently, indefinitely. Like I would rather see
mm.
you post 1 or 2 times a week and do that ongoing versus trying to post 4 or 5 times a week and then burn out and then hide in a hole for a little bit, you know?
Right, right. I know you just wrote an article on this, so I'm going to ask the question because it was, or a blog post or something. I saw it somewhere because I had the same question too about do you post it on your business page or
Mm,
do you post it on your personal page? Because I'm always going, which should I do? And I know that doesn't apply to everybody that has both, but for the people
sure.
that do have both, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
please.
interesting. Yeah, right. Because it's interesting. This question I like forget about sometimes because once you get on LinkedIn, you start to realize how much little, or that's not the right grammar, but the how less important your company page is versus your personal page because people are going on there to find you, right?
Right.
So unlike what we traditionally think of LinkedIn posting, where company page posts content and then CEO owner reposts, right? What we actually want to do is the opposite, right? Because also, who's got time to manage 2 different content calendars? Let's be real. So
Right.
I'd rather see you post from your page and then have your company page repost it because people are going to your company page to find you anyways, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And add on, company page posts only show up organically less than 2% of the time in people's feeds. So even if you're
Mm.
posting on there, it's still not going to get much visibility, unlike doing it the opposite way. So that's just my take. You could obviously add other things. Like if it's not to say you don't, if you have time for a content calendar for your company page, by all means, but if you have to prioritize, especially as small business owners who are typically have their hands in lots of areas, it works just as well to focus on your personal page.
I love that you're saying how it is really the lived experience, the things that people are really having experience with in their life, actually looking at their calendar. What did you do last week? What problems have you helped? That we can use that and bring that into the LinkedIn posts and sharing where we're in this world where it's flooded with things generated by AI and just not real. People are craving that. That's
Yeah.
a very powerful
Yeah.
message.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also, especially like think about it for authors, right? We got all this content from the book, okay, but then also the journey of writing your book,
Mm,
the behind the scenes of that. Like people are rooting for you, right? And they want to see
right.
what's happened. How did you do that? Like tell us, like walk us through what that process was like, how you went about getting published, right? What direction did you go? All that stuff. Like people are so curious about it, you know, and seeing it really happen like in real time, it's how you build momentum and get the buzz and get people to root for you as it comes out. And so when you do have your launch, people are ready to buy it already because they want to
Mhm.
support you. They can't not help it, you know?
Yes, yes, I love that. And I love when people share about their journey along the way, right? That's what
Mhm.
I see get a lot of traction because people do. They want to be rooting for you when you get your book cover or whatever.
Yeah.
When
Mhm.
you just finished your rough draft, right? These are huge accomplishments and people want to be there
Yeah.
rooting for you and championing you. Do you have any, I always like to ask if you have any advice of things not to do, because sometimes that could be just as valuable as what to do. Is there anything that comes to mind that people shouldn't spend their energy on regarding LinkedIn? May or may not.
Well, the thing that we're obviously sort of suggesting this by saying like there's a lot of AI stuff out there. It's
Mm-hmm.
shortcutting your way onto LinkedIn by leveraging AI too much. Like, don't get me wrong, I use AI all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My cloud project is the best because I love it. But I always start with my original thought, right? And so one of the things, so set aside posting, commenting, a lot of people are using AI to help with their comments, and it's just you can
Mm-hmm.
tell when it's not real and that it feels AI generated, and it's like, what's the point? Like you're really it's not, it does kind of the opposite of instead of building trust, you could lose trust. And so I think a lot of people are like, oh, I can use this tool. And there's so many out there now that like claim to be able to capture your voice and all the things. But it's not a quantity game, it's a quality game. Like I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
you comment on it really thoughtfully on a few people's posts versus trying to bust out a bunch of them and then
Mm-hmm.
them not be, good quality or leveraging AI too much, So I think that's an area where I see people, they think they can shortcut their way to that, and it just doesn't work.
Mm. Anything else that you want to share with our listeners about any tidbits, any insights?
Well, I think one of the things I like to share is, we're most of us aren't actually content creators, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're business owners or primarily author speakers leveraging content to grow our business, right? And so when you approach LinkedIn not as a content creator who's trying to, game the algorithm and chase the vanity metrics of likes and impressions, which is really a giant, hamster wheel you're going to get yourself on. and it's
Right.
and it's really tough. Like I think that's why a lot of people they go that route, and a lot of the advice that's out there is around, how to be a content creator. And instead, I try to tell my clients, like, let's focus on relationship building, right? Let's focus
Mm-hmm.
on the things that have successfully grown your business that do fill your cup as well as a human being, right? If you do that, you're gonna see really amazing results and you're actually gonna enjoy it versus it being
Mm-hmm.
this task that you have to do every single day. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a really powerful mindset shift showing up on LinkedIn with that in mind instead of this like, okay, I'm gonna be this, content creator. Like I joke because there was the top personal branding creator on LinkedIn. I heard her saying she was suggesting to people to comment 2 hours a day. And I was like, who in their
Ah.
right mind's got 2 hours a day to comment? And I was like, oh yeah, a
Oh.
content creator. She's built her whole business
Mm.
around being a content creator. Her audience is her business, right? That's
Mm.
not the case for most of us. Like, yes, we want more visibility and yes, we want sales. Like that is what we're doing on here, but it's not by being primarily content creators. It's by doing
Mm.
other things and having real conversations with people and building real relationships. Not to say that
Mm.
content creators aren't doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it's a totally different business model.
Mm.
And so it's just something I like to tell people because I think it's almost like this weight lift off their shoulder of like, oh yeah, I'm
Mm.
not a content creator. Like, what would they think?
No wonder. Yeah. And I love this idea of approaching it from a building relationship, this relationship building standpoint where they're pouring energy into something that they would be getting something from
Hmm.
themselves, whether or not it's going towards their business, which obviously is the intent, but if it's filling them cup too, right?
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful exchange of energy.
Yeah. Well, I
Mm.
mean, that literally like this is gonna sound crazy because I know I've built my whole business around LinkedIn, but I'm on LinkedIn to get off of LinkedIn and build relationships. Like
Right.
genuinely, like I would rather not be on there. I don't use social media in my personal life. Like I'm not
Mhm.
I am, you wouldn't believe it probably, but I am a private person. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not really my area, but because of all the opportunities that come from it, I can't not do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it is for me about the quality of conversations I'm having behind the scenes and the relationships I'm building off the platform.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. When you are working with someone, say, an author, what does that look like? Like, how do you walk them through this process? What different ways do you work with folks?
Sure, yeah, I appreciate you asking that. So I have my program is actually called the Relationship Growth Method.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. I didn't know that.
No
That's
surprise
cool.
there. Yeah, actually, side note, it's funny because I actually when I first was creating the program and put together the offer doc and I was doing the banner, I accidentally misspelt relationship and I was like, oh, real is right there. That's so cool. Let me caps it and bold
Yes.
it and use it in a different color. And so for 6 months, I had it as relationship growth method, not realizing
Oh,
I'd misspelled relationship.
that's awesome.
So it ended up sticking. But
Oh.
so I have two ways. I've got a cohort, which I recently launched at the end of last year. And then I also work one-on-one. The program is relatively similar, though, in that I take you through the whole process. It doesn't really matter where you are in the sense you could have never have posted ever in your life, or you could
Mm,
have been posting consistently but not seeing the right results. And so we start sort of at the beginning because the thing is that most people just haven't been doing it quite right. And LinkedIn's a really
mm,
finicky place. So I walk you through all things around personal branding, so profile optimization, messaging. On the content front, we put together a whole system that includes if your book content as well, so that we can take that and actually get it out into the world in those chunks, bite-sized chunks and posts that work really well for LinkedIn. Um, we do recorded sessions for video content as well, so really trying to showcase who you are and bring more of you to the platform because most people have this older version of them or this corporate buttoned up version that's
mm,
not who they are today. And so I
mm,
bring you to your profile and to your content. And then the third piece is social selling. And so when I say social selling, I really just mean having conversations. Um, we're trying to find the digital version of how you build relationships in real life on
mm.
LinkedIn now. And I just teach you the ways of doing that. So that's where my business development cap comes on back from my days when I was a sales development representative and talk about, depending on what your goals are, if it's more speaking engagements, if it's clients, is it partnerships, collaborations, who you should be engaging with, how you should be engaging with them, what to say in the DMs, that sort of thing.
Mm. That's so cool. I love that you weave all these things together, and it seems like you can really take something that could feel very overwhelming to people and
Hmm.
help walk them through the different pieces of things to have it really be valuable for them and have it working for them in a really nice way.
Yeah, thank you. That's the hope. Because it is overwhelming. Like there is so much to LinkedIn. And that's actually why I ended up creating the cohort because in the group, the community that comes with it, because it was just there's just too much. Like, and if we're gonna try and in 3, 4 months we get so much done, but that then it's about like iterating, testing, doing it again, trying new things. Then you have this event coming up or the speaking thing, like all these different things that we need to keep in mind. And so, having that ongoing support and accountability was really important for clients and for future clients too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to have, you're going to come in and speak with my abundant author community next week, which is will be super fun. And so that will be, depending on when people are listening to this podcast, people might still be able to come and sign up for that. So that's going to be next Tuesday. That's February 10th. Regardless of when someone's listening to this podcast, how do they get in touch with you to learn more about the work that you do or possibly even work with you? What's the best way to reach you?
Well, LinkedIn is probably the best way. It's Natasha Walstra
That
on
would
LinkedIn.
make
Yeah.
sense.
You can check out my website too as well. It's nearpointstrategies.com. But yeah, LinkedIn is probably the easiest way to go about finding me.
Anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we
Well,
wrap
I
up?
do have a really awesome newsletter that I started last year, and I go on lots of LinkedIn tangents. So if anybody is interested in that, I'd be happy to share that as well. But specifically, more of anything else to say, I think there really is so much opportunity on LinkedIn. And even if you just do baby steps of optimizing your profile a little bit, trying to create a piece of content here, there, like you're going to see really cool results from that. And so if you're feeling that like fear of it, everybody does. Like seriously, it's really hard. There's a reason why 99% of people aren't creating original content. So just
Mhm.
know you're not alone in that and just give it a try.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today, Natasha. It was great.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to speak with your community next week.